According to Reuters, Trump's tariff threats tied to Greenland have triggered emergency talks in Brussels and warnings from EU capitals about possible retaliatory steps, though no specific measures have been officially adopted. Behind closed doors, officials are reportedly discussing various options as tensions continue between Washington and its European allies, according to reporting from multiple international outlets covering the situation. Some analysts and media reports note that European officials are discussing the idea of many different pressure tools, including economic responses, but none have been confirmed as official EU policy. According to The Economist, as cited by various international media, some of these discussions have included theoretical consideration of restricting U.S. access to European military bases, though this remains analysis rather than confirmed policy direction. Trump reiterated his interest in Greenland and said he would not abandon that option, according to reports on his statements. He has called the territory essential for U.S. national security and the deployment of his proposed Golden Dome missile defense system, according to his reported characterizations of American strategic interests in the Arctic region. Europe heard these declarations with concern, according to European officials quoted in various reports on the diplomatic tensions. Greenland is an autonomous territory within the Kingdom of Denmark, and both Copenhagen and the local government have reiterated that the island is not for sale and that threats or force are unacceptable, according to Danish official statements that have remained consistent throughout the discussions with Washington. Analysis from think tanks such as CEPS warns that rhetoric about taking Greenland breaks the basic logic of NATO, respect for allied sovereignty and collective security based on cooperation rather than coercion, according to these assessments. These analyses describe what they characterize as a pivotal moment for Europe that may require consideration of a more autonomous European defense approach. The Economist reportedly notes that without European bases like Ramstein in Germany or British airfields, U.S. power projection capabilities would be affected, according to the publication's analysis. The magazine reportedly states that recent U.S. operations, including those involving Venezuela, have utilized European infrastructure, according to the reporting on American logistical dependencies. Africa, the Middle East, and Arctic surveillance all involve some degree of European cooperation, the publication reportedly states. Some analysts say Europe's shared infrastructure with the U.S. could be considered leverage in theory, but this remains speculation rather than a confirmed policy stance by any European government or EU institution. This is why restricting base access, though considered unlikely and not officially proposed, has been mentioned in some media discussions as a theoretical pressure tool, according to the reporting on these analytical discussions. It should be emphasized that no European government has formally proposed such measures as actual policy. The EU could potentially use what is called the anti-coercion instrument, which was designed to counter economic pressure from third countries, according to analysts examining European options. This tool could theoretically affect public contracts, tenders, and trade in services, representing potential economic leverage, according to trade analysts familiar with the mechanism, though it has never been deployed against the United States. However, analysts also note that any escalation could invite American responses through various means, according to assessments of potential dynamics. These could theoretically include adjustments to intelligence sharing, Arctic negotiations with other parties, or modifications to military deployments, according to speculative assessments of how such scenarios might unfold. European media report that EU leaders have described the tariffs and pressure over Greenland as unacceptable, according to coverage of their statements. Some analysts suggest that aggressive actions regarding the island could raise questions about NATO's functioning, according to these assessments examining potential implications for the alliance. Trump posted that 10% tariffs on selected European nations would take effect on February 1st and increase to 25% by June 1st unless a deal on Greenland is reached, according to Reuters. The announcement targeted Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the United Kingdom, Finland, and the Netherlands, according to reporting on his statements. It should be noted that these are announcements made by the president through social media and public statements, which may be subject to changes and are not necessarily automatically implemented as final policy, according to analysts noting the distinction between presidential rhetoric and formal trade actions. The actual implementation and terms could evolve based on negotiations and policy processes. Trump also criticized Europe's discussion of sending personnel to Greenland, calling it a very dangerous game, according to his reported statements. He has characterized Greenland as strategically essential rather than optional for American security interests, according to his public characterizations of the situation. The economic implications of announced tariffs would affect major European economies with significant trade relationships with the United States, according to economic analysts examining the potential impacts. The 8 nations mentioned represent substantial portions of transatlantic trade and include some of America's closest traditional allies in various international arrangements. But Europe finds itself in a challenging position regarding how to respond, according to analysts examining the situation. A significant confrontation with Washington could require the EU to increase defense spending, something many member states would find difficult given current budget constraints, according to this analysis of European considerations. European militaries maintain significant cooperation with American forces, utilizing shared systems and logistics for various security arrangements, according to defense analysts. Trade tensions could strain budgets while potentially complicating collective defense cooperation, according to these assessments of the challenges facing European governments in navigating the current situation. Trump reiterated his interest in Greenland and said he would not abandon that option, remarks which European leaders have criticized, according to reporting on his statements. The remarks generated significant reaction among European leaders and brought discussions about Greenland's strategic importance into prominent public attention, according to international reporting on the responses. When asked whether he would potentially acquire Greenland by force, given that it involves NATO territory, Trump responded by not confirming or denying specific approaches, according to the reported exchange with journalists. "You don't know what I'm going to do," the president stated, adding that the questioner's network doesn't know either what his intentions might be regarding the Arctic territory. The Danish foreign minister indicated that fundamental differences remain after meetings with Secretary of State Rubio and Vice President Vance, according to reports on diplomatic exchanges between Copenhagen and Washington. When asked if he would leave the NATO alliance to pursue Greenland objectives, Trump declined to specify his intentions on the matter. "I wouldn't be telling you what I'm willing to do. Certainly, I'm not going to give up options," Trump stated, according to the reporting on his remarks to journalists. He characterized Greenland as very important for national security, including that of Denmark, framing American interest as protective of the broader region. "The problem is there's not a thing that Denmark can do about it if Russia or China wants to occupy Greenland, but there's everything we can do," Trump stated, according to the reported remarks. He referenced recent events in Venezuela as demonstrating American capability to act when national interests are at stake. The president referenced Denmark's military posture dismissively in his comments. "They were talking about putting an extra dog sled there last month. They added a second dog sled. That's not going to do the trick," according to his reported statements. When reminded that Denmark fought alongside the United States in Afghanistan, Trump acknowledged having a good relationship with Denmark and expressed confidence that something will work out. Reports note Denmark has reaffirmed NATO cooperation in Greenland, and Trump has reiterated interest in the island. But no formal base expansion or surrender of sovereign control has been detailed in official documents, according to reporting on the state of discussions. The gap between current arrangements and Trump's reported preferences represents a core point of disagreement. Some commentators reference Danish threat assessments, mentioning concerns about external influences, but these are not publicly verified official classifications regarding any specific country, according to analysts, noting the need for caution regarding such claims. The characterization of any nation as a formal threat in intelligence documents requires verification through official sources. Some media have described what they characterize as pressure campaigns regarding Greenland, including what reports describe as efforts to encourage independent sentiments on the island, according to this reporting. A Republican congressman has reportedly proposed legislation regarding Greenland's status, according to reports on congressional activities, though such proposals face significant procedural and political obstacles. A Reuters/Ipsos poll showed that less than 1 in 5 Americans support the idea of the U.S. acquiring Greenland, indicating limited public support for such measures, according to this polling data. A bipartisan congressional delegation reportedly traveled to Copenhagen in what was characterized as a show of support for Denmark, indicating different perspectives within American political circles on the approach. Analysts warn that aggressive actions regarding a NATO ally's territory would raise serious questions about alliance commitments and could have significant consequences for the organization, according to these assessments. Danish officials have reportedly indicated that such actions would have severe implications for cooperation, according to reports on their warnings about potential consequences for transatlantic relations. According to some reports analyzing Trump's approach, his strategy regarding Greenland has evolved through different phases, according to analysis of his public statements and reported private discussions. The approach has reportedly included diplomatic overtures, public pressure on Denmark, and attention to political dynamics within Greenland, according to this analysis of the overall strategy. Trump argues that Greenland is relevant to Arctic security considerations, including concerns about Russian and Chinese activities in the region, according to reports on his strategic rationale. He has expressed concerns about Denmark's capacity to address these security challenges adequately, according to his reported characterizations of the situation. The Arctic region has gained significant strategic importance due to climate change effects opening new shipping routes and making resources more accessible, according to defense analysts studying regional dynamics. Positioning in Greenland would provide advantages for Arctic surveillance and defense considerations, according to military assessments of the territory's strategic value. Trump's proposed Golden Dome missile defense system has been cited as connected to American interest in Greenland, according to reports on administration proposals. The specific connection between Greenland and missile defense architecture has been discussed in various defense analyses, examining the potential strategic rationale for American interest in the territory. A long, unthinkable rupture inside NATO is now being openly discussed in France, according to reporting from German publication Berlin Zeitung. What once sounded like political fringe talk is entering broader discourse as tensions with Washington intensify over Greenland and other issues affecting transatlantic relations. For decades, the notion of France walking away from NATO was treated as outside acceptable political discourse, according to analysts of French politics who have followed these debates over many years. That constraint is now being questioned in some French political discussions, according to reporting on the evolution of debate in Paris regarding alliance membership. According to Berlin Zeitung, calls for a French exit from NATO are being voiced with new urgency, driven by what the publication describes as concerns about American foreign policy direction. This characterization reflects perspectives within French political debate rather than established policy consensus across the French political spectrum or government policy. The discussion is being led by some figures within the French state itself, according to the reporting on these debates. Clemens Geertje, deputy speaker of the National Assembly, has questioned the alliance, arguing that what she terms continued reliance on a U.S.-dominated NATO may not serve French interests in the current environment. In Geertje's view, staying inside the alliance could affect France's sovereignty, its strategic independence, and its long-term stability, according to reporting on her statements and public positions. She argues France risks involvement in conflicts that may contradict its national interests under current alliance dynamics. In interviews, Geertje warned that staying in an alliance led by a power she characterizes as sometimes ignoring international considerations exposes France to various challenges, according to reports on her positions. Her party, France Insoumise, has long called for NATO's dissolution and previously pushed for France to exit NATO's Joint Military Command. It should be emphasized that Geertje's views represent opposition party positions rather than French government policy, according to analysts noting her position within the political landscape. The Macron government has not endorsed NATO exit, though the president has pushed for what he calls European strategic autonomy. French President Emmanuel Macron has also raised questions about NATO's trajectory, according to reporting on his statements regarding the alliance and its direction. In recent remarks, he cautioned against actions that could violate Greenland's sovereignty, statements that carried significant weight given France's position within the alliance structure. French MEP Raphael Glucksmann has reportedly proposed enhanced EU presence in Greenland to demonstrate European commitment, according to reports on this proposal. Others reportedly prefer political and economic responses rather than military positioning in response to American pressure on the Greenland question. Macron has been promoting what he calls European strategic autonomy, according to reporting on French policy positions over recent years. France's participation in exercises in Greenland is seen by some analysts as indicating that questions about alliance dynamics are receiving increased attention in European capitals. Analysis from think tanks recommends building a more autonomous European defense capability connected to but potentially separate from NATO's integrated command structure, according to these assessments. The Greenland situation is cited by some analysts as demonstrating that alliance dynamics may require reconsideration by European governments. At Denmark's request, small contingents from European NATO members have been reported participating in Arctic security exercises in Greenland, which officials describe as defensive cooperation and solidarity. The exercise, named Arctic Endurance, has been underway with personnel from multiple nations, according to reports on the activities. French officials described the deployment as a strong political signal, according to reported statements from government sources. The characterization notably positioned the signal as aimed at demonstrating European unity and support for Denmark, representing a positioning of European exercises within current alliance dynamics. French participation reportedly included approximately 15 personnel, described not as combat soldiers but as preparation teams including high mountain specialists suited to Arctic conditions, according to French official statements. The limited scale demonstrates the primarily symbolic nature of the deployment rather than operational military significance. Analysts note that this deployment is primarily symbolic. Small contingents, specialized forces, and operations like Arctic Endurance serve to show European solidarity without constituting a significant military presence or confrontation, according to these assessments of the exercise's purpose and scope. European officials emphasize that the exercises demonstrate European commitment to supporting Denmark's surveillance capabilities for Greenland. Denmark has increased resources and funding for Greenland surveillance, and the EU is providing assistance while European nations participate within NATO frameworks, according to official statements. The EU's anti-coercion instrument has been mentioned in discussions as a potential tool that could theoretically be relevant to the current situation, according to analysts examining European options. The instrument was designed to counter economic pressure from third countries and could theoretically affect public contracts, tenders, and trade in services, though it has never been used against the United States. Some analysts mention that European infrastructure could theoretically be considered in negotiations, according to reporting on speculative discussions. However, this remains analysis and speculation rather than confirmed policy from any European government or EU institution, and no formal proposals have been made regarding such measures. Europe also faces its own considerations in any significant disagreement with Washington, according to analysts. European defense maintains significant cooperation with American capabilities, and rapid changes would present challenges for budgets already under pressure from various economic factors. The situation represents what analysts describe as a significant moment in transatlantic relations that goes beyond the immediate Greenland discussions, according to various assessments. The fundamental question of how alliance relationships adapt when sovereignty concerns arise alongside strategic discussions remains a subject of ongoing consideration. The current situation has raised questions about NATO dynamics and coordination, according to analysts of alliance relationships studying the current tensions. The public disagreements between the United States and European allies represent tensions within the alliance structure that have received significant attention from observers. Some analysts suggest that aggressive actions regarding allied territory could raise questions about NATO's foundational principles, according to coverage of these assessments. The alliance was built on principles of mutual respect for sovereignty and collective defense through cooperation, principles that current tensions appear to test. Article 5 commitments remain formally in place despite current tensions, according to analysts of alliance structures and treaty obligations. However, the distinction between political disagreements and challenges to alliance principles is receiving attention from observers and analysts in ways that reflect the seriousness of current discussions. The implications extend beyond immediate participants to affect broader perceptions of Western coordination and cooperation, according to analysts. Outside observers are watching how Western allies manage internal disagreements regarding significant questions, according to assessments of the broader international implications. The situation over Greenland continues with no immediate resolution apparent, according to analysts following the developments closely. The positions of various parties remain far apart on core questions regarding sovereignty, security arrangements, and the future of transatlantic cooperation. American interest in Greenland has been stated clearly by President Trump in his remarks to journalists and public statements over recent weeks. The president has indicated he will not abandon his stated interest regarding the Arctic territory and will keep options available, according to his reported statements on the matter. European governments have maintained their positions on Greenland sovereignty while seeking to manage alliance relationships carefully during this period. The balance between firmness on principles and flexibility in diplomacy characterizes European approaches as they navigate pressure from their primary security partner. Denmark continues to maintain its position that Greenland is not for sale while reaffirming NATO cooperation in the region, according to reporting on Danish positions throughout the current discussions. The gap between current arrangements and Trump's reported preferences represents the core disagreement between Copenhagen and Washington. The economic, political, and alliance dimensions of the situation create complex dynamics that resist simple resolution, according to analysts studying the various factors involved. Whether current tensions escalate further or move toward diplomatic resolution remains uncertain as parties assess their options and positions. The Arctic's increasing strategic importance ensures continued attention to Greenland regardless of immediate outcomes in current discussions, according to analysts of regional dynamics. The longer-term implications for NATO, European defense cooperation, and transatlantic relations will unfold over coming months as the situation continues to develop.